one of our traditions that we always do when we get to a place like this, that you get to know the person not next to you, but behind you. You know?
Yeah.
Guys, long time. And I know you're probably mad and I haven't answered something.
Thank you very much. Now that you know someone sitting behind you, the assumption is that you already know the person sitting next to you, so go a little further. The way we do it here is that you don't have to collect so many cards, you just have to collect 2 or 3 that you follow up on, that you actually decide, this is someone I would like to continue a conversation with. So I hope you've done that, 1 or 2 cards, and you will continue to follow up. What are you expecting today? Show of hands. Let's see. What are you expecting to hear today?
I'm expecting to hear somebody sing you happy birthday. Somebody who sings better than I do.
We have made it, Bill.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Irene. Happy birthday to you.
How old are you now?
I'm perpetually 29. Yeah, so
It's the
I'll be
bumps.
29 again next year.
Yeah, it's the bumps.
So always 29. Yeah, thank you so much. And I appreciate that you're here to share my birthday with me. And we could have asked for a better guest. We could have asked for a better guest and a better topic at this point in time where, who watched Black Panther? Who watched Black Panther?
No, I did.
Okay, who did not watch Black Panther?
I did not. Did not. Did or did not?
Okay, you're missing out on something. If nothing else, go and check out the first because it was all over, social media and everything. So at least go check it out. But the way it is that Kenya is a great country. But at times you wake up and you feel like you're gonna get a visa to Wakanda. Yeah. Yeah, Wakanda forever. You're like, seriously, if I could get citizenship there, I'll go. So, yeah, they're just those times. When you read the newspapers and all you can see is what should have been done and was not done, or what, let's not even start on that round. Yeah, so I'm thinking you're all ready with the questions that we have for our guests. I hope some of you read the link that I sent you on Wikipedia and his biography. I really cannot do it justice because at the height of his role at Transparency International, I think that was, I was not even in the country, so I could not do it justice. So what we're going to do is ask one of his close friends, they have a lot in common, you will tell us what that is. I'm going to ask Bill Lay to introduce our guest. But before we get to that, there's some people I'd like to acknowledge, some people that have been speakers in the past, and some that will be speakers in the future. David Stanley, where are you? Yeah, we're going to bring you back. David is director at Trademark, so he gave us some really good pointers on what happens at the borders and customs and how they're trying to unify that so that you don't have to stop twice on the Kenyan side and the Ugandan side. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. They're doing some really great stuff there. And then we have Mr. Mushai. You will remember him from the very robust debate we had on housing. So Mr. Mushai, just stand and wait. And to let you know that he's here for any queries that you might have on housing and how you might get plugged into affordable housing.
The housing fund?
Yes. Oh, and he's got all the money. He's got all the money. And then, team, I am going to ask you to stand startup because you're going to be one of our guest speakers in the future. This is Tim Bromfield. He works for the Tony Blair Foundation. So we are in good company, as you can see, and more people are still on the way. I've gotten texts and stuff. So we wait to see what this event brings. But for now, we are going to ask, before we get to you, Mr. Bill Lay, the way we're going to do this is we're going to give our guest speaker just about 15, at most 20 minutes to tell us from his own perspective where Kenya is at, where we're going, whether we've messed up so badly that we cannot be redeemed, or whether there's still hope for us, and how you can still continue to thrive despite the corruption, or you dare not hope for any success at all. He will tell us all that from his perspective. We're hoping to keep this very short so that we give time for Q&A, because this is more about the Q&A than we've had enough debates, enough documents, enough studies done about corruption. Let's just find out how we can plug ourselves in and still continue to thrive in this country we love so much, but obviously it's quite a bit challenged. Mr. Bill Lay?
Happy birthday again.
Thank you.
So good evening, everybody.
Good
It's
evening.
long since I've been to one of the meetings at Internations. Just some housekeeping. For those of you who had put on the website that you wanted to talk to me about something, I accepted all those today
Yeah.
and sent them back. So now the ball's back in your court. You want to, whatever we want to talk about. Okay, I'm here to introduce one of my oldest friends in Kenya. The second time when I came back to Kenya, after I first came here, and if you remember, in 1988, this is my 31st year in Kenya. It's my 6th year as a Kenyan. And I first met John, I believe, in a pre-meeting for President Kibaki's 2003 visit to Washington. George Bush was president. And I can't probably tell you the detail behind the next few interventions I had with John, because those of us who've been around that long and lived here then, you knew John as somebody really important. Even if you didn't know him, but you were hearing about him. Back in those days, don't forget, the first 10 years I lived in Kenya, you couldn't talk about anything political in public. So there was no talk about corruption. They wouldn't talk about anything that had to do with that when President Moy was in office. Then after that, I think people started to think with multi-party politics, as you said, can things change in Kenya? Those people who thought maybe no were surprised at multi-party politics. All those things that had happened, that some of you who may have been watching have seen that happen. The fact of the matter is that now with Anuka Kenya, the organization he works with, and the people he works with, he's been consistently making progress on this issue despite what we've been reading in the newspapers, because there's a difference. So I'm very happy to be able to introduce John Githongo to you, and to just leave you with one thought, or actually two. Number one, John, aside from the fact that we both have bigger waists than 30 inches, we're both married in Tibet.
Wow.
And that's something that we'll probably appreciate more as we get older, when you finally catch up to my age. And there's other Titus in the room as well. So the second thing is that my personal feeling, and the reason that I probably am here to do this tonight, is that when I ran General Motors East Africa for 25 years, it was an American company. And for those of you in the room who might be in charge of an American company or have American shareholders, you'll know that in America, every 90 days, your computer, you get an email from the US Treasury, says answer these 10 questions and hit send, where you report to the US Treasury that you're not involved in corruption, you don't pay kickbacks, you do this, that, and the other, and you have to sign. So I'll leave it to you to believe me or not, But for the 20-some years that we had to do that, when I was at General Motors, I signed them every 90 days. I read an American company that picked up double market share, $25 million in profit. I never paid or took a kickback. Ever at General Motors. Okay, you don't have to clap because it was my mother that made me do it. Because like a lot of people in Kenya, there were times I thought, well, can't I just take that and go? Huh? But I didn't. And John Githongo doesn't do that kind of stuff either. And guys he hangs out with don't do that kind of stuff. So what's going to come out of this discussion tonight, I hope, is that you're going to leave here knowing what you can do to help. Because surely, as the day is long in the summertime in Detroit, it takes two. And if you don't believe it takes two, then maybe you're going to have a hard time with tonight's discussion. But John's going to give you some stories about his history and what he's done, and it's going to bring some thoughts to your head, and you're going to start thinking about some of the stuff that's in the paper these days, every day, all day. Dams and this and that and the other and the DP and all those things, and we're trying to run a country as business people during all this stuff. So I'm going to help you make.
Did you read this?
Sorry?
Did you have a chance to?
I think somebody, if you brought your copies, I'm sure John's going to sign them for you. Anyway, the author's here. So without any further ado, I'm very proud to present the former PS, former Transparency International, former, Mr. John Githongo.
Thank you very much, Bill. Chap. Yes, Bill and I are married from, I think he's 2 hills away from me, from a very beautiful place, very beautiful ladies, and we're all very happy. I was told to only speak for 15 minutes, so I'll just give a few highlights. You've all been reading the newspapers in Kenya, and you know what's going on. Corruption is the topic that has captured the imagination that everyone's talking about. We have a new, is it housing levy?
Yeah.
So that's now, which is being, interestingly, shows you where Kenya is. It's already being discussed as a corruption story. That tells you the space we're in as a people. But in May 2008, I arrived in Khartoum. I've been invited to give some anti-corruption capacity building lectures, which is an interesting subject, and I was excited about it because, you know, Khartoum in 2008, President Omar al-Bashir in charge, etc., seemed to be the ideal place to be asked to do that kind of thing. I was quite fascinated by that invitation. And however, the morning I arrived, the night before, a rebel group called the Justice and Equality Movement, GEM, had come racing across the desert in stolen SUVs, stolen from NGOs like World Vision, World Food Program, etc. 300 or 400 of them, and attacked Omdurman, which is across the River Nile from Khartoum. And so when I arrived in Khartoum, the mood was odd, but I couldn't really tell. I could tell something was off, but I didn't understand. So my host picked me up and told me things are quite difficult here. Said Omdurman was attacked by the rebels last night. People are in trouble. And over the next 2 days, what fascinated me was as my hosts, who were well-connected individuals, would telephone their counterparts, interlocutors in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in police, in the intelligence, in different government departments. Many had disappeared. Not only were their phones not being picked up, their mobile phones had gone off. And many disappeared and have never appeared again. I understood, you know, I felt proud to be Kenyan at that moment. I said, goodness, I'm glad I live in Kenya, which with all our problems, that it 24 hours, an entire cadre of civil service and business people, military, intelligence, can disappear into the bowels of a system and are killed and have never appeared again. Which was for me extremely, it was a bit of a shock when I realized what had happened. That they were picked up and swallowed by the Mukhabarat in Khartoum. And we Kenyans love to complain about Kenya. And it's only when you go outside the country that you realize that we live in one of the most beautiful, air-conditioned countries. Wonderful people, open society. Fortunately, we don't have oil. I'm one of those who pray every day that the oil doesn't become commercially viable, because our primary resource is Kenyan people. Their industry, the might be higher. And so that for me was